The first crossover between World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited has finally come to an end. Let's talk about We Are Yesterday in this video. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be talking about We Are Yesterday. This is the crossover event. It's a 6-part time travel crossover that begins in Batman Superman World's Finest and concludes in the Justice League series. They alternate. I'll go over all the details of how to best read this, because I will say this was definitely something that if you weren't picking up both books, it could get a little confusing. We'll get into all the details of what happened. I'll give you some of the highlights of what I really enjoyed, and then also how this affects the larger world of DC overall going forward. But in this book, on this event, actually, Gorilla Grodd uses his future knowledge to bring a past version of the Legion of Doom, masquerading as the Inferno, to attack the Justice League heroes from the past and the present, including the Silver Age, Superman and Batman, Supergirl and John Stewart. They all ally with the present day JLU to stop Grodd before he can rewrite history. So imagine if Gorilla Grodd found the almanac and took the DeLorean back to 1985 and changed everything, or I guess 1955, and changed everything. That's what happened pretty much in here, right? Gorilla Grodd gets a hold of this future knowledge. But all right, we have a lot of writers in this because this is spread out through 2 series, but primarily this is written by Mark Waid. We do have Christopher Canwell and Morgan Hampton, who collaborated on the annual as well, that is in here. We have art mainly by Dan Mora, but also we have Travis Moore, Clayton Henry, Dan McDade, Tamara Van Billing doing colors, and Ariana Maher. So this was a great collaboration across both issues of this. And now there is in Justice League 9, there is a little bit of an epilogue. We'll talk about that. But we'll also talk about, in a separate video, the Justice League Dark Tomorrow special, which also pretty much kind of takes things from this event. So, all right, before we get into all that, if you need some background prep for this, because unfortunately sometimes comics can give you a little bit of homework. So let's talk about some of the stuff you may want to read or check out before getting into this. First, I would recommend the DC All In special #1. This was the special from last year, which really set up everything in this new DC All In era, including the new Justice League status quo. And then, of course, if you've been reading the Justice League Unlimited series, issues 1 through 5, they really lead you into this Inferno arc, which Waid is building up all this to this big event. So I will say, although I recommend you reading Batman Superman World's Finest because it's just a great comic book, the previous stories don't really tie into this, other than informing you of how this Batman and this Superman and the characters from this timeline, because it takes place in the past. So it tells you how to best kind of understand those characters and their current motivation. So this spans across Batman Superman World's Finest #38, Justice League #6, Batman Superman World's Finest annual 2025, and then Batman Superman World's Finest issue #39, and then it concludes in issues 7, 8, and 9 of Justice League Unlimited with an epilogue at issue #9. So it's only 6 parts, but then you also want to check out that epilogue. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we'll be talking in a separate video about the Justice League Dark Tomorrow special #1. And then, of course, you want to continue reading the Justice League Unlimited series. Even the Superman series will have some repercussions there, and the upcoming DCKO event announced at San Diego Comic-Con. All right. So, as I mentioned, this is the first major crossover for the DC All-In era. It resolves a lot of mysteries, including who is Inferno, as they introduce this new Legion of Doom. And by new, I mean old, because they are from the past, with this future knowledge. And an ongoing, as they advance to get that the power of Darkseid, right? Darkseid has left a vacuum of power that needs to be filled. So as we go through these issues, you'll see Grodd appearing from the future to try to disrupt things and maybe even get rid of Batman and Superman in the past in the World's Finest series. The big revelation of not only Inferno, but also Airwave, and how he had been manipulated this whole time by Grodd, leading him to betray the Justice League, and then maybe also his redemption later on. So I think it's really cool. I really like this character of Airwave, right? He had a really big part to play in the Absolute Power series, and I just think that Mark Waid created a character that feels like it's gonna stand the test of time. So that's really fun. It's really fun to see a character that kind of continues to evolve and learn, and also just like move forward with the story. Like he's not just forgotten after the first arc, and maybe even leading himself into his own series with his own team. We'll see. We'll see what the future tells for DC. But yeah, I think Gorilla Grodd just being this ruthless strategist wielding the future knowledge with this really menacing um, justice, with this really menacing League of Doom from probably the worst era, right? These are not the League of Doom that has been beaten over and over by the Justice League. These are more vicious, younger, and then more ambitious villains. I think this is a really cool spotlight on some of the characters. And then, of course, Dan Mora leading the art team. There's a lot of really great artists in this, but man, Dan Mora, when it comes to drawing these like really big pages full of characters, full of action, full of heroes, I think it really, really cements how important this event has been. I don't really know how Dan Mora can crank out so much work. Um, I will say time travel shenanigans can get a little messy, can get a little confusing if you're going week to week. I actually went back and read everything all at once, even though I had been keeping track and tabs on just for any major beats or a big ideas coming out of this book. I went back and read all the issues. Luckily, I have DC Infinite Universe app, so I can just kind of jump in and go back and check out all these. So all the issues are readily available for you to read on DC Comic Books and the DC Universe Ultra. You do have to have the DC Universe Ultra tier because that gives you comic books just 1 month behind after publishing. So I will say this will probably read really good as a collection. I don't know what DC's plans are for collecting this, but if you like the idea of time travel and seeing these different heroes all throughout different, not only them interacting with the villains from other eras, but also with other heroes, and trying to, there's some really nice moments. There's some really heartfelt moments, right? The Batman from the present goes to the past and sees Alfred, who's been dead for a long time. So there's just a lot of really cool things that they can explore and push. Also, the legacy across time of these heroes as the timeline continues to move. And then, of course, the redemption arc after the big betrayal by Airwave. Like, Airwave to me feels like such an innocent but at some point naive character that was unfortunately thrown into the deep end of this. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think it's a fun crossover event as we continue on this DC All In era. I like that they included an annual to kind of spotlight a little bit of the characters, in especially like John Stewart in the world's finest continuity, and then of course this was released with so many really cool covers that kind of link to each other, and then we have a really nice kind of follow up in issue number 9 that gives us an epilogue for this whole story, and also what they're kind of set up for the future, kind of Airwave and what he's doing. We continue to see Time Trapper hop across these books. Time Trapper is a doomsday from the future that has appeared in Superman. Now, I will say there's definitely a lot of things that probably don't make a lot of sense in this book as I'm talking about them, but I highly recommend you just dive in. This is a really fun book and a really fun event. So, if you have checked out this We Are Yesterday event, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. If you're willing to check it out and if you're enjoying this era of DC All In, let me know how you feel about that. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.